Well, throughout the last few years, Mossad, Israel's national intelligence agency, carefully gained valuable information in Iran, which is now being used to methodically bring down the tyrannical regime. And I'm pleased to say now that joining me to discuss this is the former head of Mossad's counter-terror division, Oded Ailam. Oded, thank you very much for joining me. Now, this is incredible, some of the information that we are starting to learn, that Israel had been able to hack into Iran's traffic cameras and traffic systems, had monitored the movements of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and that this is part of how they knew where he was in order to strike him in that very first hour of the war, in that surprise attack. Can you tell us some more detail about these incredible developments that are now in the public domain?
Thank you for having me, and I admire your moral stand on the issues, like a torch that is lightening the darkness.
Thank you.
Regarding that, I must say something about the modern theater and the modern warfare that we are facing. The most powerful tool in this modern warfare is not necessarily the missile, but sometimes the code and the people on the ground. What we have been seeing in Iran, it wasn't just a lucky break or a glitch or some sort of a thing on that scale, but accumulation of multi-year, multi-work, and multi-layered intelligence cycle that had been gathered for years. So those 40 seconds of strike is the end of a marathon. Now, the most challenging thing was, if you are talking about the cameras, is to penetrate the cameras under the radar of the Iranians without leaving a footprint or a digital print. And for that, you cannot only rely on technology. You have to have those human factor, the human sources that will enable to initiate and carry on such an operation. I would say that technology provides the map, but the human source is the key. And the outstanding consequences is because of this marathon that we have seen.
So the human sources, so how extensive are Israeli operatives embedded in the Iranian infrastructure and architecture, really?
Israel had been embedding for quite a long time, and I can just assume a general meeting in the headquarters of the IRGC, the people sitting there and looking to the side and looking to the left and thinking maybe this guy is the spy and maybe this guy is the Mossad source. So this is the nature of the penetration of Israeli intelligence service into the hardcore of the regime, and we see the outcome.
I think one of the messages that has confused the public is that after the 12-day war, the world was told that Iran's nuclear capabilities had been destroyed. Now, the world was told that this war needed to happen to make sure that Iran didn't again get a nuclear bomb. Can you give us some more information about what was completed in the 12-day war and what still needed to happen?
We have to remember one thing. The Iranians are possessing 480 kilo of enriched uranium to the level of 62%. In order to make this gap between 60% and 90%, which is needed for a nuclear device, it's about 2 weeks or so, but you need the infrastructure, technological infrastructure, and so on. They also possess 3.5 tons of uranium enriched to 3.2%, which can also enable them to do that. What Israel had been doing and in the 12 days war, and of course with the assistance of America, is to destroy and annihilate as much as possible the infrastructure, the centrifuges, the 10,000 centrifuges that are running for enrichment. But nevertheless, we haven't destroyed two things. First of all, we did not destroy the knowledge. The knowledge still exists within the Iranian scientists, and we haven't destroyed or we haven't reached those enriched uranium that probably are buried now either in Isfahan or Natanz, those two places that were bombed. So right now the task is, first of all, to be sure and to be certain that those 480 kilos that enable 11 atomic bomb will not be dug out or recovered.
Oded, just finally, that first very successful surprise attack on the Ayatollah and 40 of his leadership, that was the first act of war. But now all of the leadership, the scientists have all gone underground, literally underground. So how hard is it now to target them?
It's harder because everybody not just going underground, but getting rid of all the devices that might be enabled to track him. But nevertheless, we are still having our assets. We are still having our sources. We're still having our know-how and technology. And so it's maybe a little bit more complicated, but I can say it's disabled the abilities, and we are seeing the consequences every day. If I may, I want to say one word about the stand of the United Kingdom here. I think it's shameful stand that almost like being the butler who served tea by giving the American the ability to land at Fairford airport, but not sharpening the knife. I think it's a appalling stand by the UK, especially as an ally of NATO, of the Americans. And I think that this historic moment will be remembered as the lowest point of this administration in the UK.
I completely agree with you. And I've actually got Brandon O'Neill coming up a bit later to speak exactly about that, the weak Keir Starmer. Oded Ailam, I really appreciate your insights. Fascinating. Thank you for joining me.